everybody. It's Jim Cowan. Jim is somebody that I've known for a fair time now. I sort of fell upon Jim when I was making The Business of Cancer, a documentary. And it turned out that Jim had a really interesting story. And so I went and made a video of him. And he's been a guest on other streams. And I've made a sincere promise to Jim, and I intend to carry it through. And that is, until he gets justice for himself and his father, I will keep supporting him. Jim, what justice are we searching for here?
Very simple one. That's the recognition that I was the person who created the Race for Life, inspired by my father's cancer diagnosis and untimely death.
Absolutely. And as always sorry to hear about your father. Doubly sorry that you've never had that acknowledgement. Jim was very much involved with running, saw a gap in the market, certainly for female sport as well. And Jim, take it from there. Tell us about the first one that you organised.
Yeah, I mean, you have to sort of think back to what the 90s were like to realise that, you know, now everywhere you look, there's a charity with a 5K fun run or a series of 5K fun runs. Back in the early 90s, 5,000 metres was a track event. There weren't road races over 5K. The shortest distance that road races took place over was 5 miles. And they were places for serious club athletes and better. There wasn't the fun running element. If you wanted to raise money for a charity, you ran the Great North Run or you ran the London Marathon. There weren't dedicated events run by the charities themselves. With my father's diagnosis with cancer, I wanted to do something to mark his life. And when I looked into this market, I noticed that there was an opportunity for a shorter distance to be run on the roads that was run in a fun environment, was more welcoming. And my research then helped me identify that actually at the time, all these different events over 5 miles, 10K and further on the roads that were taking place, fewer than 10% of the entrants were female. And I thought, there's got to be a reason for that. So again, I did some more research, and it just turned out that it was far too macho, far too competitive.
Right.
The environment was one that just was not welcoming for people who were not serious about their running, just wanted to do it for a bit of fun. So mishmashing all of this together, I came up with the idea of a national series of 5K fun runs with the idea of raising money to fight cancer. I approached one cancer charity who turned it down, saying, no, this will never work. And then through a contact who was working at what was then Imperial Cancer Research UK at the time, the forerunner of Cancer Research UK, I got put in touch with their head of events, had a couple of meetings, and we decided to go ahead with a one-off test event in the summer of 1994 at Battersea Park.
Yeah, and you have all the documentation to prove this. I mean, there's literally no doubt whatsoever that you are the creator of Race for Life. So obviously, we're talking about, well, this is a charity event that changed the landscape. There's no doubt about it. And obviously, it is part of Cancer Research UK. It's already made billions of pounds. What is Cancer Research UK saying about the fact that you created it?
Well, they're hotly disputing. The most recent turn, actually, that's happened since we last spoke, Sonia, is that they are now claiming they've had an internal inquiry into the origins of the Race for Life, and those origins cannot be established for certain.
Oh.
The interesting side to that is that I've offered to provide them with documentation. I've even offered to provide them with witnesses, including the person who was working there at the time and made the initial introductions. They don't want to talk to them. So this internal inquiry they've had into the origins of the Race for Life is flawed to begin with.
Yes.
I've gone back to them and said, listen, fair play to you, you've had an inquiry. Why don't you open it up to public scrutiny? After all, if it's a genuine inquiry, what have you got to hide?
Yeah.
No reply.
No. And so I made a report about it, sent it to Cancer Research UK. They didn't say anything, no response. They didn't threaten me legally. They have never threatened you legally. And you have an account on Twitter, which constantly posts about this situation. And the thing is that the CEOs at Cancer Research UK, they're, OBEs, MBEs, they all like their awards, don't they? And the thing is, everybody, it's really important to know, this isn't about Jim's ego. He created this to honour his father who was dying of cancer. It's that simple. If I came up with an idea to honour, you know, a dying parent. And then, you know, a multi sort of, you know, a corporate charity took the idea and chose not to give me any recognition. I'd have an issue with it as well, a big issue with it. And that's why, Jim, I'll always have your back until we get this recognition for you. What does it mean to you that you're still being denied this for your father?
It's difficult to put into words, Sonia. You know, it's frustrating, most definitely, at times painful, very annoying. I mean, it is impossible to ignore. It is impossible to go a day without seeing the Cancer Research UK or Race for Life brands these days. You walk down a high street, there's the shops, a bus drives past, it's plastered over the side of the bus. You wait for that bus, it's plastered all over the bus stop. You turn on your TV, they're asking to donate £2 a month. Yeah. No doubt the £250,000 salary of their chief executive needs paying from somewhere.
As you've pointed out repeatedly to her.
Yeah. And if I can make a point on something you said a moment ago, Sonia, and that is about the fact that they've never sued. They've never issued the point about that is that you can't sue someone for telling the truth. If they did sue, they would expose their own lies. They would expose their own hypocrisy. I'm quite open to them suing me. I'm quite happy to. I have the documentation. I can back up every single word I say. And I saw a quote on Facebook the other day, which actually summed it up nicely. It says, the truth doesn't mind being questioned.
Right.
The lie does.
Right.
And I think that's where we stand with the Race for Life. Yeah,
it is absolutely. Loads of support in the comments here. Sean Allen says Jim is a sincere guy. Craig says cancer is sadly a business. They've seen a chance to make money on this. Jimmy says they have no scruples. Lurgerbug says must be awful for you, Jim. Summer Darkness says bless you, Jim. Chris says these huge charities are a disgrace. I don't trust them. Thank you, Sean. Great show again, Sonia and BNT. Thank you so much. Yes, Sean, $250,000 salary. A lot of these corporate charity CEOs are extremely well paid, more obviously well paid than politicians, than surgeons, than, you know, doctors, etc., etc. It's fairly outrageous. Jim, what can we do to support you?
We've got an online campaign, the Race for Truth. That's race, the number 4 truth, racefortruth.com. It's also got a presence on Facebook, on Instagram, and as you've mentioned, Sonia, on Twitter. Mention it to your MP if you're active. Not to have an enormous amount of faith in our MPs these days. You know, talk about it publicly, make it more widely known. The hardest thing about getting the truth out is getting people to listen, is the platforms such as yours, Sonia, that are willing to hear it. You know, we've run campaigns where we've tweeted over 1,000 different members of the media, not got a single reply. You know, we've contacted journalists on the Skies and the BBCs of this world, not had a single reply. So the hardest thing about this campaign is getting it out there and getting it heard, getting the truth into the public domain.
And the thing is, once it breaks, and that's it. And then everybody will be all over it, because that is the reality. Chris says, good luck, Jim. We'll look at you on Twitter. So, you know, Jim, we will carry on supporting you. I absolutely will. Always, please keep me updated. I mean, I don't hold out any hope from Cancer Research UK. But this is a human interest story. This is about remembering Jim's dad and the phenomenal work that Jim has done. Jim, take good care of yourself. Always really, really good to see you. Jimmy says, thanks, Jim. Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you from all of us. Jim, have a great weekend. Take good care of yourself, and we will keep exposing this until you finally get that justice.
Thank you for your support, Sonia.
Pleasure. See you soon. Take care.
Cheers now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.